Chief Chuck Hoskin admits opioids have overwhelmed the Cherokee Nation.
I think a 1 year period measuring it, there was something like 153 opioids for every man, woman, and child. I mean, that is in the reservation. I mean, that's a staggering number.
Julie Skinner says reservation residents are fighting for survival.
It deeply impacts everything around them and how they feel, how they think. So it's hard to say, just stop doing it. You're ruining your life, so just stop doing it. It's not that simple. If it was, they would.
Chris Rich has seen it all too often.
I've seen people lose jobs, lose houses, lose cars, basically their whole lives until all they can do, all they're doing is on the streets and looking for that next fix.
In fact, Chris saw it happen to him.
My wife died in a car wreck. I was on the phone with her and our daughter was in the car with her, and that was the beginning of my rock bottom. And I stayed in that rock bottom for 2 years, and that included drinking every day, doing drugs, everything I could to not feel what I was feeling.
Chief Hoskin says Native Americans are more likely to face addiction than almost any other group. He believes that's by design.
When we have 6% of the population in this region and a third of the opioids come to our reservation, that's a problem. That almost suggests there's a targeting going on.
They know the people who need it are the people who are suffering, and so Natives have been suffering for a long time.
Members of the Cherokee Nation often talk about generational trauma, the idea that the injustices of the past create vicious cycles for the future. Today's Cherokees may not have walked the trail of tears or been sent to oppressive boarding schools, but they were raised by those who had, so they feel personally affected as well. And healthy coping skills are hard to come by.
That leads to things, and I'm not a healthcare expert, but I think that leads to things like self-medication. I think it leads people sometimes down dark paths to addiction.
I turned to drugs so I didn't have to be me no more. I could be somebody else.
People like Chris are seeking help from programs like the Peaceful Warrior's Way, a peer coaching program funded by the Cherokee Nation.
So a peer is a person who's been through it, who's healed, who's been able to come to the other side and be able to provide that insight and that help and that understanding of the person who has the addiction.
It's a method of healing that leans on tradition.
They do drum groups, they get together, they do talking circles. They're using those processing cultural activities to help people transverse their addictions and to help them get through them and to help them find ways of coping in another way besides using substances.
We've lost a lot of our ceremonies and our traditions and our language, and as we get back in touch with these things, for me, it's been like a balm to my soul.
Peer coaching got Chris clean, and now he's coaching others. Chief Hoskin says these Cherokee traditions may not work for everybody, but they've been very successful for the Cherokee people.
If these things were easy, people would have solved them a long time ago, so I'm not so naive as to think the Cherokee Nation has all the answers, but I think culturally we see things in a more collective sense maybe than the rest of society.
The culture is healing, and that's absolutely what it was for me. For once, not only did I feel connected to the people around me, I felt connected to God and to my ancestors behind me too.
In Tahlequah, Sam Gelfand, News Channel 8.